Good morning and welcome to another Gribley's Folly Sunday Antisocial Hour, that time each week when I smoke my pipe and complain about humanity while answering all of its questions. If you're a piece of humanity with an itching, burning, scabby, scaly, throbbing question that probably needs prescription medication, I am your doctor to write that prescription. It's really kind of a cumbersome metaphor. But that's not the point. The point is, I will answer any question. Leave it in the comments below with the hashtag AskGribs. It shall be answered. How are you doing? Did you have a good week? I had a good week. I hurt my neck. I hurt my neck last weekend again. And then, if all of my aches and pains don't magically go away pretty soon, I might have to start taking care of myself. I'm smoking, I don't know what I'm smoking in my Moulin Rouge Renoir basket pipe, my second pipe ever, and my first real pipe. It's a sitter. It'll sit on a flat surface, just like that. It's a great pipe, acrylic stem. I wish I had the money. The problem with life, before we do this, let's run the intro, shall we? The problem with life is that there are limited resources and an unlimited amount of things to desire, right? And if I won the lottery, hundreds of billions of dollars, I would have all of my pipes fitted with acrylic stems. I don't like vulcanite. I'm sorry, I know it's untraditional, but the deal is acrylic stems, number one, look better, although I would probably just get black acrylic stems. I don't think I would do all the fancy stuff. Number two, they're so much easier to clean. They're bulletproof. They're bulletproof. And I got strong teeth, right? Crooked. Look at that. Look at that gap right there. But they're strong. And so I can actually use the gap to hold my pipe. And I don't have to worry. I don't need the sag of a vulcanite bit. It's just a little more flexible, but then it gets all dirty. Acrylic all the way. Have a preference? Are you acrylic or vulcanite or plastic or ivory? I don't know what there might be a trend in the pipe community I'm unaware of because I don't keep my finger on the pulse anymore. What's the big deal in stems right now? Anyway, acrylic or vulcanite, that's the kind of mind I have. It's got to be like a binary question and I have to have an answer right now. As you saw in my video this week about my 22 rifles, bolt or semi. Marlin or Ruger. I've got to have an answer. It's got to be right now. I got to get rid of the other one because it's terrible, and I got to keep one because it's the best rifle ever. It's just eating me up inside. I've spent like the past 2 days researching, like, do I really want to put a Volquartsen trigger, the really nice trigger in that gun. I mean, I could see spending $100 to get a really nice match grade trigger. But then I've just spent $100 on a $200 rifle. You know what I mean? Like, what? It's just diminishing returns when the Marlin already has a beautiful trigger because I polished that thing up myself because I'm brave enough to do that with a bolt action rifle. I don't think I want to polish a trigger on a semi myself. That's asking for problems, although I see people doing it all over the place. I don't want to have to stand before a judge and be like, yeah, I guess I filed a little too much metal off and now I got a full auto. Anybody out there own a match grade 1022? How much money? I want one ragged hole at 25 yards. That's what I want. That's my goal. How much money do I have to spend to get there with a 1022? Okay, so we've covered guns. We're going to cover politics at the end of the episode. Let's get to your questions, right? Isn't that the whole point? Howard, as a struggling artist, asks Gribbs, if you ever went all Van Gogh, would you choose the left or right ear? I would go to an audiologist the day before I did that and have a test done to see which ear hears better. Because I know I've got hearing damage in both ears because of guns and rock and roll. And so I would want to find out which one was worse, and I would cut that one off. On the other hand, I would also like to go back to the audiologist the next day with like a bloody hole in the side of my head to see how much the actual outer structure of your ear helps. Like what kind of hearing range do you lose when you cut off the outers? Anyway, I don't know. Professor Pipe asks Gribbs, do gun-loading gnomes come in calibers other than 22 long rifle? Yes, they do, but they got to be bigger gnomes, right? Because it's easy for gnomes to lift the 22, right? But if you wanted, like, for example, a 30-06 gun-loading gnome, that's basically like a gun-loading gnome-sized cave troll is what it takes to load up your gun with a gnome if you've got a 30-06. By the way, that's like first year of shaman school stuff. I'm surprised you guys don't all know that just from hanging out with me. Anyway, love this pipe, and it's just kind of a mix of aromatics in there right now because that's my fishing blend, and that's kind of what I reach for, and I'm kind of regretting it, actually. I wish I had gotten something a little more fortitudinous. I wish I had something stronger. Pipe asked Gribbs, scooter or moped? And what would you smoke on your ride? Pipe and tobacco. Well, I mean, when I think of a scooter, I think of like the thing with the handlebars that you stand on and you like push with your feet. Can you believe the tent is still up? I just thought about that. Totally going camping this weekend. Totally gonna camp. Yeah, you know what I should do is just reach back there and pull the stakes or the sticks, the poles out and just let it collapse. And then it would just be on my floor outside the range of the camera and I could just tell you that I cleaned up. Moped all the way. Moped all the way. You can still retain a shred of dignity on a scooter, and I think if you're going to lose most of your dignity, you should. If you're gonna fall off the wagon, wallow around in the mud. So moped all the way, and I would need a 10-gallon hat, and I would smoke pirate cake in a MacArthur corncob pipe, like this big. Oh, I need a pair of aviators. I might even just wear the entirety of MacArthur's uniform, actually. Oh, this one's going to go places. All right, Farmer Brad asked Gribbs, what is your opinion of organic farming versus conventional farming? I will start out saying that the only thing to label organic farms is that they cannot use petroleum-based pesticides. They do still spray pesticides. What is your opinion? So, I am not an expert on this issue. However, I am an expert on contentious political debates. So I will say this. I am not a climate denier by any stretch of the imagination. However, climate change is something, and I know this sounds like I'm not addressing the question. Climate change is something that is a global thing. And I doubt the ability of Americans on an individual or even national level to actually reverse its process. Because we're not the biggest polluters. China and India are the biggest polluters. If there could be a global Kyoto Accord or Paris Treaty or whatever that could actually stop everyone across the globe from wrecking the atmosphere, I would support that. I would. However, except I don't support anything because that's my whole thing, man. But anyway, environmentalism in the last however many years has put all of its eggs in the global warming basket. And I feel like has exhausted all of its political, social and cultural capital on this issue, which is basically an abstraction, right? You can tell somebody, hey, in 50 years, the ocean level will have risen a meter. People don't understand that. The hindbrain, the mammalian instincts can't grasp that. If you tell them, hey, we're killing all the honeybees. People know what a honeybee is. They know that when you drive down the road now on a summer evening, you get way less bugs on your windshield than you ever did before. Because there aren't as many bugs. There's a massive insect die-off going on. They know you can look on TV and see the Amazon fires and see what it looks like when the jungle burns down, right? So these are like hard, tangible things. I think the theme of this video is tangible versus intangible. These are tangible things. They are opportunities for real change that the environmental movement has missed over the years because it's been so focused on the rather esoteric global warming argument, frankly. And so when it comes to the question of organic farms, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, what is the point of an organic farm? Like, it produces healthier food, or is it better for the ecosystem? I don't know. Healthier food, whatever, man. I eat Cheetos breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I don't care about healthy. Ecosystem, I do care about, and I would rather see policies directed toward things like that, toward things like stopping the insect die-off or stopping the rainforest fires, than I would policies or cultural movements, right? Because that's what organic farming is, right? It's not really like a law or anything. I would rather see environmentalists put their energy toward those kinds of things than big abstract concepts that the individual can't really. I mean, what can you do? You can drive a Prius. You really think your Prius is better for the environment than a normal car? Probably a little bit. Maybe. You could argue that it might be a little bit, but not enough to offset the rest of the world, especially in places where there are no environmental restrictions. So my point is, I like organic farms if it helps the environment and if it actually demonstrably helps the environment. It's not just greenwashed. Wonderful. I would pay more for my food to get it from a farm that didn't harm the environment as much. Piper asked Gribbs, what's the difference between an artist and a craftsman? There is no difference. Art does not exist. We've been over this. Does craft exist? I mean, they make good cheese. Actually, they make terrible cheese, but it's good. It's good fodder for lubricating the burger you're getting ready to eat. You know what I mean? Like at a cookout or something, and the burger's dry. Well, if you put like 4 or 5 pieces of that like single serving Kraft cheese on there, it gets all like mushy, and it's easier to shove it down your throat. Front Porch Pipe, you have stumbled upon the reason I believe that art does not exist. Because this is an area in which artists try to look down on others, right? Oh, well, quilting, that's just a craft. Ceramics, that's a craft. And the difference is what exactly? The difference they can come up with, the conventional wisdom about the difference between art and a craft is that an art is useless. Craft, you can put some blueberries in your ceramic cylinder that you cast on the wheel. You can keep yourself warm with your quilt. You can't keep yourself warm with a Robert Rauschenberg painting. Or, I don't even want to get into the other examples. And it's bullshit. It's total bullshit. Basically, it's a way of marketing that which has no value, no tangible value. It's very hard, it's very hard to market things with no tangible value. And so you have to say, well, the fact that it has no tangible value is what makes it valuable. Why is art so expensive? Otherwise, no one would buy it, right? So there's no difference. There's no difference when it comes down to the actual emotional, ontological sense of creating something that is inspired. There's no difference. When it comes to marketing those items, you've got to attach a higher, like ivory tower label onto something that has no use to make people buy it. I'm trying to sell pinhole photos, right? Am I going to tell you that you can use my pinhole photos for like opening cans in the kitchen? No, they have no tangible value. You buy one of those, I hope you buy one of those because you like it. And if you haven't seen the test print video, I feel weird. Because I said, I'll sell you these test prints for $50. If you like this image and you like one of these prints, $50 shipped to your door. I didn't really discuss anywhere in the world on the shipping, but that's not the point. The point is, I was like, geez, these are test prints, these are byproducts, but at the same time, that's barely making my cost back. And number two, blood, sweat, and tears went into these images. So, I mean, you have to ask a price for something, right? If you're going to do it, the reason we pay is this. We had this discussion about wedding photographers. The reason we pay artists is so that they'll be artists, so they'll keep making art. And I guess I feel weird. If you think $50 is too much and you really want one of those prints, make me an offer, right? Make me an offer. Ember Drifter asks 4 questions today. Number 1, are there wedding singers at any of the weddings you attend for work? Yes. Number 2, if so, Do you and the wedding singer, the limo driver, and the caterer get together and commiserate about bridezillas and inappropriate speech makers, uncooperative drunk relatives, people that bring dogs, and various other individuals that make for a good train wreck of a wedding? Yes. Usually it's not me and the wedding singer, because the wedding singer is on duty while I'm off duty. Like I get a 5 to 10 minute break during a wedding to wolf down some food, and usually the other people that get the break during that time are the wedding coordinator, and any other audio, video, any other guys with cameras. And so sometimes the DJ as well, actually frequently the DJ. I'll get to sit and talk with the DJ. And we all see such different aspects of the wedding. The most similarity of experiences with the wedding coordinator, because if you're there the whole day, you're kind of a coordinator too, or at least you're working with the coordinator. And so, yeah, we definitely talk. We typically do not talk about the wedding we're currently working. That, number one, I've never experienced a bridezilla. Not once. I have experienced some mother of the bridezillas, but I've never had anyone in this job be as rude to me as my bosses were in regular work. Maybe I just got some shitty bosses in life's lottery, but generally, if people are paying my prices to get me there, they want me there. And sometimes guests will be rude. I don't care about that. But the people that hire me are almost never the problem. They want the wedding to go smoothly. They want things to work. The extended family, the guests, yeah, and we might commiserate the wedding workers, the vendors. We might commiserate a little bit about that, but almost never about the wedding we're actually working at that point, because that would be rude. I'm sure that happens. And I can think of times where I have been like, man, this guy is really bothered. Like Uncle Bob with the camera he's really causing some problems. But it's always from a point of view of like, I'm concerned about this rather than like just bitching, What's your next question? I don't want to go on too long. I've already gone on too long about art and all the other crap I go on about. All right. Number 3, would you charge more or less if the clients just wanted one artsy pinhole photo of their wedding? More. I would charge more. That would be an incredible amount of stress. Trying to make sure you got a pinhole shot. There is so much margin for error in pinhole photography. Number 4, what is the meaning of the number 42? I'll see you and raise you. What is the meaning of the base 10 numerical system that we use, as opposed to something like a base 12 system that the Babylonians used? The meaning of number 42 is nothing. It literally means nothing, because numbers don't mean. Numbers don't even exist. Think about this. They rule our lives, but they don't really exist. Show me number 42. Where can you find a naturally occurring 42? It's something we made up. Now you can find 42 of something, but you can't actually find 42. Doesn't mean anything. So what does that mean about all our attempts to mean? And Briars asked a follow-up question about the plane crash video, and I said that the occupants of the plane walked away, and he says, how is that possible? Well, the plane had its own parachute, which I think was pretty cool. And it descended very slowly and was almost entirely intact after it hit the trees, which is why I wanted a picture of it. John Waxaroni asked Gribbs, is it me, my vintage age showing, or the pride of an amateur artist who can't shake the feeling of being robbed by technology? What is your opinion on the transition from 35mm to the digital age, and which do you think is the better route? And he talks in between there about the feeling of printing a really awesome photo in the darkroom, which is a feeling I can totally relate to, because it is a feeling like no other. You cannot You cannot understand that feeling until you've had it. When you see an image correctly, you shoot it correctly and print it correctly. It's the best feeling in the world. All right, so what is my opinion? I'm going to stop right here because I've already recorded this 3 times, and I want a hard stop I can come back to. It took me another 2 times to get there. All right, so I can get into the technical stuff here. Long story short, digital far outclasses film in terms of absolute resolution, color accuracy, economy, noise performance, file security, digital asset management, pretty much anything else you want to throw at. In terms of the tangible aspects of photography, digital is the clear winner between 35 millimeter and most digital cameras. The clear winner. When you throw medium format into the mix, things get a little less clear because medium format allows for different lens geometries and they produce different looks to your images, and that is why I still shoot and shot medium format. But 35 millimeter, yeah, no contest. Now, I would pose this question in response. What we like about photography, what real photographers like about photography, is that the most arrogant thing I've ever said? It might be. Well, I'm going to let it stand. What real photographers like about photography is intangible. If you just want to make an image, you don't really need a nice camera. You can shoot a great image on your cell phone. We like this because of something else that doesn't really have anything to do with image quality and doesn't really have anything to do with color rendition or digital asset management or anything like that. There's a quality to the experience of producing images on film that cannot be replicated with digital. Now, when I shoot an awesome photo on a digital camera and I'm looking at it on my monitor, I do get the same kind of feeling that I used to get in the darkroom. It's not the same feeling, but it is an equally good feeling, knowing you produced a really awesome image. But the process of production is more fun with digital. The process. So are you more motivated by the process or the result? That will give you your answer. When I am shooting for a client, I am results oriented because they're paying me a lot of money to do it. When I'm shooting for myself, I'm much more process oriented because if I'm not having fun, the pictures are going to suck. So long story short is, if you had asked me this a year ago, I would have said there's basically no place for film anymore. Now I say, if you want to shoot film, you better shoot film. You can't get the same experience with a digital camera. It's illogical. It's irrational. Doesn't make any sense. But it's there. It's an intangible value to an older way of doing things. Bolt versus semi. Same question. All the time we have today, actually we could go longer, but I ran out of questions. Leave your question in the comments below and I will answer it next week. Just make sure you use the hashtag AskRibs. Thank you for watching. Keep the ends out for the ties that bind.